What's up, everybody? Today, just like probably yesterday, if I'm holding myself accountable, is a brand new episode of Gym Therapy with your host, Dr. Jim himself, me. First of all, I would like to say this is so small, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed and commented and liked any of the videos so far. I feel like in this very short journey that we've been on together, for some people who have kind of perused everything that I've put out so far, I feel like just from comments alone, I've shared some things that helped people, and honestly, that was the goal from the beginning. I've lived a long life, all 30 years of it. I've been through quite a bit of stuff, and I'm just glad that someone out there has been able to benefit from it. I feel like if I had less life experience, I would not be able to talk about the subjects that I've talked about so far. Which brings me around to today's subject, which is going to be being yourself. This one is a very close subject to me because of the way I grew up. I had this very intrinsic need to be liked by everyone, to be accepted, I guess, is probably the word I'm looking for. I did things that weren't necessarily me just because I was seeking validation from any source, because I didn't get it from probably the source that you most want to get it from when you're a child. So we have some story times. I'm going to go through my thoughts about what I did, if it's okay, if it's not okay, and maybe some of you guys are going through the same thing. Do you find yourself literally being someone that you're not for the sake of other people? Are you curating your behavior? Are you curating the way you dress, the way you present to society, because you're so worried about how everyone might feel if you were different? I think it's a very important topic. I think a lot of us can fall into that hole of maybe idolizing someone so much, or we have a relationship with someone important to us and we try to be the thing that they want us to be instead of being ourselves. And I think it's important that we talk about it a little bit, because ultimately I think where we're going to get to at the end is kind of how important it is, regardless of what might happen if you don't, to be yourself. So we're going to pack the camera up. I know it's kind of a short intro today, but we're going to go do some weighted pull-ups because we're going to do a back and a bi day. Today's, let me be honest, today's supposed to be a leg day, but I think the last video, not like the one that I might have posted yesterday, but the one before that was legs. And it's really a symptom of I don't record every day I go to the gym, really, because sometimes I'm busy, or sometimes I don't have a subject, or really it's just those two. I would love to upload every day, but sometimes the brain juices don't be flowing like they should be. So we're going out of order for the sake of, I guess, viewing. It'd be kind of awkward to have leg day, chest day, leg day. So as far as the videos are concerned, so we're gonna pack it up here. We're gonna go do those pull-ups, and I'll see you in the gym. All right. So I'm gonna get a warm up. I'll probably do 3 sets. I just have a 25-pound weight here because I'm not, in fact, the buffest guy to ever exist yet. We're working on it, though. So let's strap it up and go. Here we go. Ooh, that is tough, ain't it? I wonder if I could. Wish I had a 35, honestly. We'll stick to the 25 for now, though. But back to our topic for today, which is being yourself. This is a very embarrassing story. When I was in high school, I lived in the South, and as an aspect of living in the South, everyone is more or less kind of country, right? Very cowboys, cowgirls, work boots, cowboy hats, country accent, all that kind of stuff. I didn't necessarily love all of that stuff, but I wanted to fit in. And I very much played the part. I had a little cowboy hat, had some bootcut jeans, had the plaid shirts, and I just kind of became the thing I thought I had to be in order to fit in. Preppy, country, all that kind of stuff. It's cringe, but I had so little support at home, next to no validation, that I did what I thought I had to do for people to like me. We'll get started. Fuck. That is so tough. On grip alone, that's really tough. Also, I'm in bulking season, so I'm kind of fat. You know, it's adding to the weight, of course. But I very much just kind of was the person that I thought I had to be. And it's very disingenuous to... I'm an adult and I have a lot of perspective now. It was very disingenuous to the people around me. It was disingenuous to myself, and it's a question that could never be answered. When I have friends, when I have people that liked me when I was in junior high and high school, if I was myself, I'd like to think yes. In fact, sometimes I'm such a big fan of myself today that I almost think that if I was myself, a lot more people would have liked me. Because maybe when you're attempting to be something you're not, people can sense that. They can get that vibe. And maybe it pushed people away too. This all kind of came to a head, I think, when I met a girl. My first serious relationship in high school. And there was a lot of good things and bad things that happened, specifically around being myself and figuring out who I was. But also maybe becoming a little bit obsessed with being a people pleaser, and in some ways going too far, going in the wrong direction. But we're going to set and we'll continue this little story time. Shit is tough. Why nobody told me this shit was so tough? No one had to tell me. I knew it was tough. Oh man, what an exercise, truthfully though. That's good. That's good. So, we'll get to a bicep exercise, and I will continue this little story. So, at least we have these machine preacher curls. But to continue my little story, this girl was a little bit more alternative, I would say, right? She liked some of the music that I liked. like really liked, which was like metal and metalcore and post-hardcore, all that kind of stuff. Definitely like scene and emo type vibes. And I kind of slowly started transitioning into like somewhat of the kind of person I am today, because I realized that, okay, I can have these likes and people won't think I'm weird. Not wholly weird, I guess. There are still people who I've gotten some flack over the years for some things, and we'll get into that. But I started wearing skinnier jeans. Before, skinny jeans were cool. I think maybe they're not cool now anymore, but for a period of time, I was like, I was riding the wave of skinny jeans before they were cool, because it was like a very metal thing to do, I guess. It was like the culture. Ripped skinny jeans, muscle shirts when you were way too skinny to be wearing a muscle shirt, pale skin, long hair. I dyed my hair black too back then. It wasn't like full on like makeup and like nail polish and that kind of stuff, but definitely the vibes were correct for that scene. And she was into that as I slowly started transitioning. Ultimately, that relationship kind of ended. This is where it gets embarrassing. She liked a band called Sleeping with Sirens, and I kind of internalized that to some degree, and I tried to emulate one of the people who was in that band, namely their singer, Kellen Quinn. You know, kind of my wardrobe was similar, how I presented myself online was similar. I wasn't obsessed, but here's this guy who's successful, at least in my perception as a very young person. This girl that I guess I loved. I don't know. It's hard to say when you're that young and it's your very first relationship, but I felt feelings for this human. I then was like, okay, well, if I can become more like this person that she admires, maybe we can fix this. Maybe we can find some kind of reconciliation. I'm going to do a set and I'll let you all think about how you imagine that went. And if you guessed it went terribly, then you're today's winner. Because it went terribly. I got attention and I got validation from strangers and even people that I knew, right? I was posting little vocal covers on the internet. I was getting like, really honestly, like a ton of attention. I was very nearly social media influencer territory before that really became a thing. I went from like 300, 400 followers on the gram to I think like 6,000 or 7,000, right? Just doing my thing. But as you can imagine, the one person who I wanted validation from probably thought it was creepy and cringe. I never really talked to her like that after we broke up. I guess I was just kind of hoping, you know, that somehow we would find our way back to one another. We never did. And I think that's for the best. So there's like a pro and a con of what kind of happened with that. So in my venture to win her back through becoming like someone she liked, I also kind of found myself a bit, right? I then started becoming comfortable, like, with wearing clothes that might not have been the style for where I live. I grew comfortable with liking music that maybe wasn't what most people liked. I found a friend group through one of my very best friends. His name is Brandon. who also shared interests similar to mine. Uh, this was back with we were gaming online and we were using Skype. This was before like Discord, way before Discord, and finding other bands that I vibed with, being exposed to new ideas. I kind of was then able to shape myself and figure out who like I was. And I'm still on that journey, I'd say today. But I think without that weird unhealthy obsession I had, maybe I never get pushed to be the person that I am today. Because maybe I stayed country Chris. Maybe I'd be recording this video right here, right now. No tattoos, of course. Well, maybe a tattoo, but it'd be like the skull of a deer right on my shoulder and an American flag on the other. And, I'd have rode up here in my big old truck. And, I'd be a completely different person. Probably be married to a nice old lady that I met on farmersonly.com. Or better yet, probably knew her in high school. Probably be high school sweethearts. But the point is, that wouldn't have been me. That would have been the me I think that I thought I had to be. And I guess at some point, maybe when you fake it enough, you become the thing that you're faking. So I don't know. In either case, I feel like I am me now. And I have, over time, built up the confidence to like the things I like, to be the person I want to be, and I'm very unapologetic about it. I think we're all, maybe not everybody, but some number of us, I'd go as far as to say it's on the larger percentage, care what people think. We care about how we are perceived. We care about how we present. And I guess the crux of this is we should be trying to shift our perspective to a place where we don't. It's good to be loved. It's good to be appreciated. Does it not mean more when we're being appreciated for who we truly are and not just an act, a facade that we've tried to pull over everyone's eyes in the effort to just be liked? I don't know that everyone went through this kind of charade that I did, right? Being so obsessed, and I know why I did it, right? I did not have love at home. I did not have a family at home. This person showed me kindness, this person showed me care, and I was so afraid to let go of it. And I was so, I don't know if addicted is the right word, because it was good. You should have these feelings in your life. Someone who cares, someone who's there for you. And I was so desperate to keep that because I had it from nowhere else. And I went to very extreme lengths to try and retain it. Is it embarrassing? 100%. But at least I understand why I did it. And I guess what I'm saying is if you're going through something similar, hopefully not, you're better off being you. That person who you're trying to change for is not the last person you'll ever have in your life that cares about you. I feel like we all get kind of caught up in this rat race of being the most liked, being the most quirky. I'm not like all the other boys or girls. And we forget that, like, what makes you special is just being you. It's not a competition. I'm not competing with anybody else. I'm just being me. And if I so happen to share some characteristics with someone else, then that's just, it is what it is. I think largely we as people are more alike than we'd care to admit, as in like boys and girls. And that's not a bad thing. We're people. Our brains function in similar ways. I like video games, so does half the rest of the planet. Does that mean liking video games is bad? No. It just means I'm normal. I don't even know if it means I'm normal. Maybe I just am like everybody else. Who cares? Do a lot of other people not have really great relationships? Do they not have families and people that care about them? Is being normal so bad? What do you get from being quirky? I don't know if there's a benefit to being the most unique person you've ever met, other than the small golden ribbon that you put on your own chest every day because you get to think that about yourself. I think that kind of behavior almost lends itself to having poor relationships with other people too. But I'm going to do a set and then I'll explain that. We're gonna call it right here. But real quick, before we move exercises, I think when anyone is in this rat race of being the most special and the most unique, and you just end up becoming in competition with people around you. It's almost like you have to one-up people in your effort to be the most unique. When I think what brings us together as people into, tribes, when we were like very uncivilized, and then into cultures and cities and nations, is the things that we do have in common. I don't think commonality is a bad thing. I think I'm not even saying you should have things that make you unique. I think because you are you are unique. Not because you draw, not because you like metal music, not because you wear different colored shoelaces on each shoe and you do your makeup a little bit weirder than everybody else. Those are just things. Anybody can do things. Anybody can have hobbies. I think what makes you is all of that stuff together, plus being you. And that's where there's value. But from here, we're gonna go find some value in a back exercise. So I'll see you in a second. And next we're just gonna do these machine rows. Right? That's what we're doing. Machine rows? Make sure I'm not crazy. Sometimes these machines have names that I don't anticipate they're gonna have. I swear I come to the gym. I think I hate these, honestly. The amount of pressure I put on my chest when I'm trying to do it. I don't know. Anyway, I think there's some superior row options out there, maybe. But back to the topic at hand. Being yourself and being confident. Would you not prefer people like you for you? What's the worst case scenario? Nobody likes you. Not even your mom and dad. I've been there. Is there not value in being true to yourself? Number one, I think it's almost an impossibility that you, being genuinely you, assuming you're not hurting anyone, that people wouldn't like you. I think people gravitate to genuine people. And I think the most genuine thing you can do is just being yourself, not what is effectively feeding people lies for the sake of validation. I also, since I kind of touched on lying a little bit, I used to have a problem with lying, not to the point of, because it kind of ties into being yourself. I used to lie about not totally mundane things, but whenever someone would be, this had a lot. Here I go, admitting my failures in my last relationship. When I was a kid, let me give you the backstory. I'm gonna tell you why I think I did the things I did, and then how I carried on into my life. When I was a kid, I would get in trouble for things that I did not do. For example, for a period of time, my mother's grandmother lived with us. She had dementia and Alzheimer's. Because of this, she would walk around the house and she would do things. One of the things that she did was break a jar that my parents kept cereal in. One day my father gets up in the middle of the night, finds the broken cereal jar, wakes me up, this is traumatic. He drags me out of bed into my sister's room where he has the belt and he starts hitting me with it. On the butt, on the legs, wherever he can hit me, on the front, on the arms. I'm like fucking having a matrix fight with this belt, trying to minimize the damage. And he's like sitting there asking me, he's like, who broke the jar? Who broke the jar? And my sister's just like in the bed, while I'm like getting curb stomped by my father right next to it. And I'm just like, I didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. And this goes on for several minutes, right? And the thing I learned when I was a child is if I lie, it stops. If I tell my parents what they want to hear, it stops. So naturally, I did it. I don't know why. And it's always so funny, and I feel like if you're the parent, you know that your child is lying, because it would be situations where it's like, yeah, I did it, it's my fault, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd be like, well, why'd you do it? And it's like, I don't know. I have no idea why I did it, because I didn't do it. And I'm just trying to make it stop. Eventually it does. Some time later, they find out that it was my grandma who did it, and it was not me. And would you believe that I didn't even get so much as an apology? Oh my God. The abusive parents didn't apologize for the abuse? But it made me so upset. I admit the things I don't do just to spare myself pain and agony. And then when people find out that I in fact was innocent, it doesn't even matter. So what did I learn? Just lie. And tell them what they want to hear, and you will avoid pain. Fast forward to it being an adult. I'm going to do a set, and I'll say that. I'm trying to be respectful of everyone's time here. So fast forward to being an adult. I'm in a relationship, a serious relationship. Whenever I have done something that might have upset my partner, my knee-jerk reaction is to lie, because that's what I have been taught. That's what I have learned. It's like I feel like in ways it was a defense mechanism. Was it wrong? 100%. Have I hopefully learned and become better? I think so. I think the trials and tribulations we go through in life help teach us about ourselves, about our behavior. I know at least I can speak for myself and say that that has been true for me. Do I wish that I could have been just honest? Yes. Because ultimately, my girlfriend wasn't going to beat me. She wasn't going to pull out a gun and shoot me if I didn't tell her what she wanted to hear. But I guess I had been so conditioned to be deceptive, to avoid problems, that it's just what I did. I guess what I want to say is you don't have to lie. Maybe you went through something similar and that's why you do. Maybe you're concerned with how people are going to perceive you and you think you always have to be super cool and do interesting and exciting things. You don't have to. I think anyone that you would be sitting there lying to, who is already a part of your life, has decided they wanted to be a part of your life, regardless of if you're 007, right? Regardless of the fact that you're a multi-billionaire investor that nobody actually knew about. I have a friend or two, the reason I'm saying this, who do that. They habitually lie about ridiculous stuff. And I wish I could just sit them down. I don't even know how to approach the conversation, because if someone just habitually lies and you confront them about it, would they not just continue to habitually lie? And I also don't want to make things difficult for them and make them like shell up and I don't know. At some point you can tell someone is making stuff up, right? And I think that's where me and some of my friends are with an individual or two. And I truly just wish I could sit them down and say, hey, you don't have to do all of this stuff. We like you. And in fact, I think if we could get to a place of honesty and just you being you because we all like you, you'd have a better relationship with all of us because you're being genuine. It's the disingenuous trying to hype up your life that I think is the problem. Let's get this final sign. All right, that is going to do it for these machine rows. So we're going to go ahead to another bicep exercise and we'll continue this little chat. So we're going to do some curls for the boys. I don't do anything for girls on this YouTube channel. So let's get a set and we'll keep on our yapping. Ooh, that is quite heavy, ain't it? But strict form, no swinging. Back to our subject. Kind of talked about the people that I know who are not totally honest because they think they have to impress people for people to want to be a part of their lives. And if that's you, you really don't have to. I promise. I think I kind of said it on this last exercise that I think just the more you are you, the more people are going to like you. Just being genuine. Who doesn't like a genuine person? I know I do. And imagine what that does to a relationship if they find out that you haven't been totally honest. Maybe I don't know, maybe you do embellish your life a bit, make up stories about things you might have done or going to do. What happens when people find out that it wasn't true? You've irreparably harmed that relationship because how would people trust what you say? you know? If you're willing to lie about, it's like when we were in school and you had that friend who was like, oh yeah, I totally have a girlfriend. She goes to another school. None of you guys know her. We all knew. But you have people who continue to do that in their adult life. And I think you're only doing yourself a disservice by just not being totally honest. And if we know that you don't have a girlfriend that goes to another school, we can help you find one that goes to our school, bro. Just be honest, man. The bros know people. The best indication of getting a relationship is when you have mutual friend groups, right? That's how most people meet their partner. Someone knows someone. They can vet you through friends. Boom. But if you pretend you're dating someone at another school, in another state, and on another planet, well, you're never going to get one. Especially not from your friends. And your friends are the people who are going to be able to help you meet someone nice. Some quick relationship advice. That is so hard. Whew. I'm really starting to like these very baggy shirts with like the long sleeves that completely hide every gain I've ever seen in my life, while also showing off my legs as much as possible. I think any man not participating in the hoochie daddy short trend is either A, doesn't train legs and is ashamed, and you should be ashamed, or is just very uncultured, I suppose. Doesn't know what he's missing out on. Because the hoochie daddy shorts they hit. Show off your thighs, bro. You been working on your quads? Show them off. Someone told me that a thigh tattoo for men is like a tramp stamp. I wonder how true that is. Leave a comment if I do indeed have a tramp stamp accidentally. Whew. We got one more set. Then we're gonna do another back exercise. Probably some pull downs, maybe? Oh no, I know what I'm gonna do. No spoilers though. This is bingo card time. I know I haven't mentioned the bingo card in weeks, but maybe not weeks, but in several videos. So, we're once again popping out that bingo card. Yeah. We're done. I could not do another. So, another pull exercise. I really like the cable for this. Alright, so we're going to finish up the back portion of this with these cable rows. I really like the single arm cable row because I can kind of turn my body into it. Helps you get all of the stretch in the back, especially in the center. So this is a staple in my back days. So let's get a set in. It's a little bit heavy because we are so torched, but I'm just gonna stick through the weight. That's the first time I've done weighted pull-ups, so I'm not really used to that. Usually my pull-ups are like a warm-up. I'll do like 3 sets of 10, They just get the back moving, so now it's a working set for me. Pull-ups are not to be underestimated. I realized I alluded to some difficulties earlier when I was talking about becoming myself. It was nearly frowned upon to be different where I grew up. When I grew up, I got a lot of unwanted comments. I don't know if a lot. Enough comments that it stuck with me. And I guess anytime you hear something negative publicly from someone you've never met, it really has no reason to be a hater. That kind of sticks with you just a little bit. And the amount of people who questioned perhaps my sexuality, questioned, the size of my private parts because how could you fit them in those girl jeans type stuff. Really questioned a lot of things about me because of how I dressed and the things that I liked. It was not easy, and I'm not going to pretend it didn't affect me at all. It sucks to hear that. It sucks someone you don't know, who has no vested interest in your life at all, has something just negative to say for no reason. I'm sharing that, and I hope you don't take the wrong thing away from it, though. I hope you don't hear that and then think, oh, well, people are going to be mean. This is a reason to not do those things, to not be myself, to not step out of my comfort zone. But I think you still should. Because ultimately, as I've kind of said in previous videos, anyone who's going out of their way to shame someone that they do not know for something that is perfectly acceptable, right? Like, it's just as normal, I think, to wear skinny jeans as it is to wear bootcut jeans, as it is to wear bell bottoms or whatever. It's literally just fashion preference. And anyone who is, and that's just clothes. You could do whatever you want. Shave your head, paint your nails, get a mammoth tusk pierced into one cheek and out the other. You should do the things that make you happy, because at the end of the day, it is your life, and you have to look yourself in the mirror, and you're the one who goes to bed with you. So why not live as happy as you can? Ultimately, that guy who's saying something negative to me when I was working at Best Buy, right? I never saw him again. And in hindsight, as an adult, what a terrible person. I was a kid. I was 17 years old. What kind of adult in their 30s, in their 40s, shits on a kid? I think it's a reflection of them. How miserable do you have to be? And anytime someone's going to give you hate for the things that you're doing, it's not you. It's not a reflection of you. That person is miserable. That person has things that they are holding on to, hate. They're not happy with themselves, their life, the people around them. Something is going on that they feel the need to lash out on completely innocent bystanders. So I 100% will not let the fear of anyone saying things dictate your actions. So long as those actions aren't hurtful to other people. That's the caveat with all this. You can't go punching people in the face because you like to and be like, oh, why don't you support me? I like assaulting people. Let's be real. Oh. It's kind of loud. I'm so torched. I also don't think that you should change for anyone. Not a damn person. If people don't like you for who you are, if people shame you for who you are, then they're not people worth having around in your life. I think there's a social contract amongst everyone that if you are going to be someone's friend, their significant other, there should be this understanding that you are taking them as they are, for good, for bad. And if at some point you think the things that they're doing don't vibe with you and don't work with you, the solution is not to try to change them, not convince them to be a different way. The solution is to find other friends. If someone is causing discordance in your life, I think you should move on from the discordance. Maybe there's an argument to be made to have a conversation depending on the behavior. Like maybe this friend, hypothetically, goes to the bar every other day. And maybe that's not where you're at in life anymore. And you feel bad because they're always inviting you, and you go out of guilt. Maybe there's a conversation where it's like, hey man, I'm not really, you're one of my besties, but it's hard for me to say no, but I really want to get away from doing that all the time. I love hanging out with you, love who you are as a person. I'm not going to tell you to stop going, but I just wanted to be clear with you that if I, stop going, it's not because you're not my friend, it's because I'm about my money and I'm wasting too much on alcohol, or I'm about my mental and, going out all the time isn't healthy for me. At which point, that is something resolvable. But we're not coming at that conversation like, hey man, to be my friend, you gotta stop going to the bar. You shouldn't ask people to change for your sake. I think when we have conversations about people changing, it needs to be for their sake. Hypothetically, I have a friend who's doing meth. Maybe there's a slightly different conversation there about changing. I think as long as these personality quirks are healthy and happy, that we shouldn't be changing anyone. I'm like immediately backtracking on this. If they're doing things that are harmful, maybe that's where people should change. But I think that is an extreme rarity and not really so much of what I was getting at today. But I feel the need to address it in case someone's like, oh, well, sometimes you have to change people because they're hurting themselves. Of course. But I'm talking about, they're in the chess club, you suck at chess and you hate playing chess, but you do it because you're their friend, and you want to still be their friend but not go to the chess club, right? They can play chess and still be your friend, and you can have a conversation about that. Them doing heroin is completely different. Like all of my friends, when they found out I was doing heroin, they had to have an intervention. I'm kidding. I don't do heroin. I've never done heroin. I've actually never done any hard drugs, if you can believe that. The emo metal kid never did drugs. Really? Is that impressive? I don't know. Some people have looked at me before and said that they imagine that I've done some stuff, but the truth is, clean as a whistle. Because of my parents. I saw horrific things. And I just on the pendulum flung so far to the other side that I never wanted to be any part of it. Because how easy is it to lose yourself? I already had a very shaky grasp of who I was. The last thing I needed to do was add mind-altering substances. Let's get this set. Alright, I think that is going to do it for today's back and minimum buy day. So, we're going to pack it up here, and I'll see you in the car. So we talked about a lot today. Being yourself, why it's okay, why you should, why people's perception of you maybe doesn't matter as much as we think it does. Or maybe how everyone's perception of you shouldn't matter. People who genuinely care for you will not care about your likes and your dislikes. They'll care about you. Anyone who's going out of their way to be an asshole, really, that's a terrible person. So why do we care what they think anyway? Anyone who's leaving hateful comments on your Instagram or your Facebook or your MySpace, sending you emails, like anywhere that this might be happening, those are terrible people. Why do we care what they think? And we need to shift our perspective to that. I think you are most valuable when you are being you. I think your life has the most impact, and I think we're the most unique when we are ourselves. Don't be some caricature of what you think is popular. Don't go out of your way to, I don't know, paint popsicle sticks because you're trying to, be the quirkiest girl you know. For the guys, like, go to the gym because you love it, not because you think that more muscles will make you happier. They do, but that's not why you should go. Don't embellish your life. If you don't play 64 instruments, that's fine. Your ex's next man will, but she's your ex for a reason. You're moving on to something better for yourself, and that is what's most important. You're not competing with anyone. None of us should ever compete with anybody. The only person you should compete with is yourself. Because if you can be just 1% better than you were yesterday on a hypothetical scale that doesn't end at 100, because I'm doing this thing where I draw every single day. And I just try to find one thing that I like in a drawing that I think I did better today than I did yesterday. And if we could take that kind of advice and apply it to everything in our life, and apply it to all the things that we are and are trying to be, if you can be 1% more you today than yesterday, regardless of what people think, maybe that means wear the goofy shoes that aren't in style. Maybe that means, I don't know, listen to the goofy music that you are afraid to listen to in your car because maybe someone hears it right outside your windows. Like sometimes I used to be worried about listening to K-pop. I play the drums, so K-pop, the beats are very open and you can freestyle over them, and I start to like the songs. And sometimes I just want to listen to the songs because I like the songs. Sometimes I'd be worried about playing the songs too loud because, oh God, what if somebody in the car next to me hears it and they think something? Who cares? You will never see that person again, and if they thought something awful about you, they're not even going to remember it. It's just passing feelings. It's like that whole thing where if you like trip in a mall and everybody sees you in 10 minutes, no one's going to remember it. I'd remember it though, because like I'm your number one biggest fan and I'm going to try and help you never fall again. But stop being so preoccupied in what everyone else might think, what everyone else is doing. And if my experience and my embarrassing story about being someone else to try to impress people that maybe didn't matter and win someone back that maybe never was good for me in the first place helps you, then I'm glad I shared the story. If you thought it was funny and I was a goofball for doing it, that's also fair and true. At the end of the day, all this vlog is about is, number one, working out and being buff. Number two, discussing what's going on in all of our lives. I think one of the hardest things in life that we do is just being comfortable in our own skin. And I think that starts with understanding that who you are is valuable, not what you do. The way you treat others is valuable. The way you interact with the world is valuable. Your hobbies, your interests, the things you busy your time with, work, like maybe there's some value if you're curing cancer. But I think for most of us, I would like to backtrack. There's objectively value if you cure cancer. If you cure cancer, then like this is not for you. However, everybody else who's living a mostly normal life, the most important thing that you can do is treat others with kindness and help everyone be the person that they could and should be. Be supportive, be empathetic, and be open. I hope I helped someone out today. If I didn't, hopefully in this next vlog, I'll help someone out then. Until then, stay cute, and I'll see you next time. Later.